Live from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Good Morning LaLa, and talking about Wisdom Wednesday. We've got a great story here. This one's amazing. We're so excited with Kim Corbin, who you guys are all work together and stuff.
Senior publicist.
Senior publicist at New World Library, and you also have an iskip.com. This is fantastic.
Right? Skipping queen.
So we're talking today about how you may have a passion, and it doesn't not always pay, or it does pay, and then how you can make the distinction between the two.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your journey of discovering those two things.
Well, when I first skipped as an adult, I was with a couple of friends, and one of them went skipping down the street and said, "Let's skip." And I followed him. And as I did, I thought, oh my gosh, this is so much joy. This is so much fun. I bet I could get my Burning Man friends to skip with me. I could do publicity around the fact that we were doing that. And then it would go out in the media, and then people would start skipping everywhere. And I had this whole vision. And then I wasn't ready yet. Like, I tried to recruit my friend to be the skipper, and I would be her publicist. Like, I was not ready. So then 2 years later, a series of synchronicities happened where once again it came up. A friend told me about her daughter asking her to skip with her at the mall. And she said, and I did it, but I thought adults don't skip. And so that was when I created the website. And just as my vision had happened, it basically exploded. And the Chronicle did a story. It went out on the wire. I was in People and Time and Newsweek. And it was early social media days. And so there wasn't Facebook or any of that stuff. It was 1999. And I recruited head skippers. It ended up that there were all of these people.
That's awesome.
Let me just say that only a publicist would actually be able to make something. It would be like me. I'd be like trying pot in high school. I'd be like, this is the greatest concept ever. And then I wake up the next day, I'm like, yeah, this never worked.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who had the idea and didn't do it. And so there was a lot of people out there who'd already been skipping for years. And so through the internet, I put my finger on it, and they all started gathering together.
Oh my God.
And because I was getting so much national publicity, I was like, I found my calling. If I leap, the net will follow. And my dad is like, how's the cash registering, Kim?
Yeah.
You know, he's very entrepreneurial. And I was like, I don't know, Dad. It's my calling. If I leap, the net will follow. And then I pretty much skipped myself into financial ruin. And the other side, like, it didn't go well. I thought this book that I was writing, I should know better as a book publicist, that you don't really live off your royalties.
Yeah, it's so tempting.
But you think that's the thing.
Yes.
And so it didn't work out. And I went through a pretty dark night of the soul on the other side of all of the joy. But now I realize that that's part of the creative journey. And so I came back up the other side. I had really gotten a taste for how it felt to change the world and to make the world a better place. And then I landed at New World Library, where I'm a publicist, and I get to work with authors like Rob and
Which is an amazing.
Eckhart Tolle. Who else do you work with?
Changing the world. Yeah. Eckhart Tolle, Shakti Gawain just recently passed away, but she was the founder of our company. I mean, just like amazing opportunity to shift the world. And then skipping, because skipping is free and it's fun, and I never wanted to try and charge people for skipping. I just want it to be able to be its own entity. And so now I have the best of both worlds. Like, I have the skipping movement, and people who skip find me all over the country. I lead the Austin Skip Fest every year.
Don't you think, okay, so I'm curious to know what you think about this, because I'm a firm believer that the universe knows what's best.
Yeah.
So even though we may want, like, the skipping movement to be the place for all the money to come in, the universe is like, no, you're going to make a bigger impact also working with extraordinary human beings.
Yeah, you can do both.
Right?
And it would have been like, it's so much more rewarding. And now with the hindsight, 20 years of hindsight, you know, at the time, I think unanswered prayers are the very best kind sometimes. You know, like, it's hard to see that when you're in the middle of it. But it really is true. And now it's like I have the best of both worlds. And I have my skipping passion, which I love. And then I have this really rewarding day job where I'm getting to make an impact too.
It's just, go ahead.
Oh, no, the whole adult skipping thing, even just reading about it, Erin and I were like literally laughing, because the idea of it brings so much joy. But I mean, what have you witnessed in adult transformations with skipping?
Yeah, it's really hard. You have to let go of what other people think of you in order to skip. And so that's, you know, a lot of people have talked about that. For me, it's like, even after 20 years of skipping, I still have that inner dialogue where part of me says, oh, don't skip right now. It used to say people will think you're crazy or adults don't skip. Now it says, oh, you're going to annoy people with your joy. Keep it down. Wow. But then my voice of my heart and my spirit loves to skip. And so every time I choose that voice of joy, it gets stronger. And my ability to choose between the voice of the critic and the voice of the spirit is like gets stronger as well. It's a clearer choice.
Totally.
And so that shows up in everything. Like when I sit down to write, it's like that voice says, oh, you've been trying to write this book for 20 years. You might as well not even. And I'm like, oh, I recognize you. You're the voice that tells me not to skip. And so it's like, it's really both, you know,
How did it feel? You were
translates.
skipping.
I did a video for her.
Yeah,
My book
I
came
have
out.
it like
Did a
probably
skipping
10
video.
years ago. We have a
Yeah.
it's on YouTube. We'll
It's a
have
really
to, I'll
bad
have to send
skipper.
you the link.
I think I've gotten better over time, you know. But it's so fascinating. I do love the point that Jessamine and Erin are making, which is like, you know, you clearly have learned some incredible best practices through the years, and that's what's allowed the skipping thing to become so big, and it's also allowed you to, you know, sort of promote and support these great authors. But what are some of those best practices that all of us can use or apply in our lives when it comes to making something we love either into, you know, monetizable or into something that other people also are interested in?
I think that it's persistence is really key, and realizing that the good things take time, and that when the going gets rough, that's often a really big part of the process. Like there's often breakdowns before there's breakthroughs, and it's so easy to quit. Like there were so many points where I thought that the skipping movement was over, and then and maybe it would have been time to let it go, but then it didn't let me go. You know, I think the things that are meant for us also like keep coming back. So like someone would show up that just skipped a marathon, and I would tell his
Skipped a
story.
marathon.
Yeah. Shrita Furman, he set more world records than anyone.
Incredible.
He skipped an entire marathon.
Wow.
Yeah, and he had to like
I would
put little.
skip a marathon, but that's a whole.
That's the good thing about skipping. I say that actually, you can skip
Right.
a 5K and not even
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah.
That's great.
Clearly you don't skip a beat. Ha ha ha. So what now? Like you see these movements, you see people like Rob Mack, who clearly has so many gifts to give to the
I mean,
world.
the guy's incredible.
Persistence, you're saying. What else? We want some other tips from the big publicists. Come on.
Well, I think that you need to make space in your life for grace. Is something that is really important. And it's so easy to be busy, and to have our days filled and not stop and say, like my prayer lately is, play me like a finely tuned instrument in your orchestra. I got this from one of our authors, Christina Rilo. But I say, at a slow pace that I can handle. Because the skipping movement was so fast that it was a little disorienting. And so I don't need that big quantum leap anymore, but I like to just ask for that and then create the space to listen. Like how often do we say we want to find our passions and we want to do that, but how often do we actually stop and every day and just take time to listen and journal and write and really do those things that will help the wisdom come through.
Yeah, culturally, that is so difficult, especially in America, to take that space to allow ourselves the grace of personal and self-discovery, especially related to joy and finding what makes us happy.
Yes.
You know, if we were just skipping down the street and we would annoy somebody with our happiness, the thought that it even crosses our mind, I just can't even handle.
Yeah.
We want to take a look at a little skipping video.
Oh, you.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, I thought it was going to be
Here he
you,
comes.
Rob.
I think it is. Here he comes.
Here he comes, Rob Mack skipping. There he is!
Oh my God, that's a
Wow.
blast from the past.
Wow, shout out
That's
to Andy Waldman,
awesome.
executive producer. How you found that video? That's amazing.
the
So tell
fly.
people where they can find the skipping movement and working with you.
Yeah, well, iskip.com is the home of the skipping movement. Every year I lead the Austin Skip Fest in Austin that benefits foster angels of Central Texas. So that's all will always be on iSkip. And then New World Library is newworldlibrary.com.
Yeah.
And that's where all of, we always have a new batch of amazing authors coming through.
Well, thank you so much for bringing so much joy and fun
Thank
to all of us.
you.
Yeah.
Skip on.
Stay tuned. We'll bring it back.